Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Irish Wrestling Podcast. I'm joined today by Foxy, as everybody knows, a regular on our show. Jonathan Davenport is back. He's been back a few times. He's back for a special episode. And for the first time joining us is Brian Maxwell, Foxy's partner in crime in NEWTANDBAT Productions. We are here to talk about One Fall, and specifically, issue 2 is out now and is available right there. Look at that beautiful comic. Lads, if you haven't already got your copy of issue 1, it's available now as well. So you can go and buy copy or issue 1 and issue 2. Get on to Brian, get on to Niall. You can message us directly if you want to get your copies. It's an amazing graphic comic novel about wrestling, or somebody who's getting into wrestling, using wrestling as a way of skipping from his life. I can't wait for the rest of the Niall, Brian, if you want to talk about it, there is 10 issues planned out. Have you got them all?
Oh, we've
Kind of
more than 10 issues.
Oh, really?
This all depends on if people can fund this thing.
That's all. We have committed to making 5 comics or at least one full story arc. So we want to get people a good story, a beginning, middle, and end. With self-produced, self-published stuff, you usually only get 1, maybe 2.5. When you either end up falling out with people or people just lose interest. So I know where Niall lives, so he can't get rid of me. He slept over in my house only very recently. So that's not going away anytime soon. So it's all on the basis that if people want it, it is there. We are committed to it, and we're gonna go take you from bell to bell.
Was that sleepover a necessity? Was that a brainstorming sleepover, or was Niall kicked out of the house?
No, it was not kicked out of the house.
Was that because of Dungeons and Dragons, or just a general party? I think that was just a party. We're so wild and wild.
Bit column A, bit column B. So yeah.
We do it all.
Jonathan's a graphic designer. If anyone who doesn't know, if you are tuning in for the first time, you haven't seen Jonathan on the show. He makes ring gear for WWE stars, AEW stars. He's worked for Disney. You know, he's got movies. Yeah, short movie Bridges is on YouTube right now. You can go out and watch it. It's amazing story about Ruby Bridges. And he's got a movie coming out. I'm not sure. Last time we spoke, he hadn't got a release date for F Plus. The one with
still waiting on that. Yep. Still waiting on the release date for F Plus, but I'm just as excited about it. It's like it just rules so much. I love it so much, and it's killing me that people haven't seen it yet. But it's awesome. Big E's in it. Briefly, he gets to play the role of a dad, like one of the kids' dads. He's got kind of a on again, off again thing with one of the moms. It's pretty fun. So I'm excited for people to see it.
What was your, you have the copy of One Fall issue 1 I sent you over last year. What were your initial thoughts when you got a chance to go through it?
Can I take you on a little journey?
Absolutely.
Sure. So you didn't tell me it was coming, so it was a total surprise. So I get a thing in the mail. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's neat to get stuff. I don't remember ordering something, so obviously credit card scam. I'm gonna have to call the cops or something. I opened it up. I think I even recorded and posted like me opening the thing. I was so excited. I love comics. I love them. And I don't like digital comics are cool. And I understand, and I live in 2024 like the rest of you, but I love an in-hand comic, right? I love flipping the pages. I love worrying about, oh, did I bend the corner? Do I need to back and board this? I love them all. So it was really cool to get one in hand. And I love indie comics. I especially love like the issue 1 of indie comics because it feels like pilot season, you know, like that's what I do. I go to the shop on Wednesdays and I just grab all the number 1s I can find from like Marvel, DC, cool, Image, whatever, but like any indie book I love. It's like in my heart. So it was really exciting to get this and flip through it and be like, what is this? Where did this come from? It's wrestling. Oh my God, it's so good. And I read it and it was just such a bummer. Yeah. It was so sad and heartfelt. I have so many. I know we're supposed to be talking about issue 2, but I have like a ton of questions about 1, if that's
fire
cool.
Away.
Absolutely.
Fire away.
Okay, so so we talked briefly about Bridges. We just kind of mentioned it. One of the things when I was writing that was I kept in mind, because that one's, it's, you know, kind of aimed for like general audiences, families, kids. And I remember seeing a documentary on Mr. Rogers, and he was talking about how things that are traumatic for kids are things that adults tend to just kind of take for granted. Like going to get a haircut is like scary and you know, things like that. So I was trying to keep the trauma and stuff on a scale that like kids could relate to, but parents could go like, oh, I kind of remember that. And I saw that in your book. I don't know if you did it intentionally, but like when the dude drop kicks his mom, right? Like, I feel like, is mom okay? Like, she's okay, right?
Well, if you go through, you will see there's a hint of the injury, but you know, there was no image of a tombstone. So
right, exactly. And so far, so unless it like hit some kind of thing that was benign and now it's activated, and could be terrible.
You know, in the bedrooms, we show like the bedroom and then the bedroom again. There's a hint there.
Oh my god! All right, I got to dive
hiding
back
away.
He has the comic there, so he's gonna be like,
that's a real that's based on a true story.
That's my next question. I was going to ask you because that felt like so real. I was like, I mean, obviously there's a lot of storytelling that's gone into this, but I was like, that feels like something that could happen. Like that feels like actual pain. Like this doesn't feel fictional that much. So is this a real? How much of this is real?
Like this is a division of personal experience between both me and Niall. It's me as a wrestling fan and Niall as, you know, an 18-year vet at this stage, a grizzled young veteran, no trademark impinging. But you can, I had an idea for issue 1. I had it written and prepared, and I based it on the hero's journey. I wanted to do a writing experiment to see what did I still have my chops? And I had that in my back pocket for ages. And then the lore, I was watching FOXY's stream, and I was just messaging, and I said, if you didn't do wrestling, what would you like to do? He's like, I'd like to write a comic. I'm like, I know a guy. There. So from that, I had something kind of arranged, and then I brought it to Niall, and we shared and went back and forth. But the heart of the comic came from Niall when he shared what it means to stand behind the curtain for him, and where Niall stops and FOXY begins. I was like, there it is. There it is. It's a story about, and we worked from there. Well, I'm not giving away all the sauce, but you know, there's our heart. And you remember when we were on the call, and I was like, that's it. That's the heart. That's the, he's like, what the heart? Have you just watched Moana? What are you talking about? No, we have it. We have it. So from that, because he was willing to share, then I was like, okay, well, if you're sharing, I'm sharing. My friend jumped on his mom's back and put her in a sleeper hold once.
Wow.
He just dived on her from the couch. Remember, we were told to not try this at home. Well, he tried this at home. I was like, oh, and we went back and forth. I was like, we can't get mom in a sleeper hold. What can we do to her? I'm like, how can we hurt mom? We're like,
this was an actual conversation we had.
Monsters.
How can we hurt the mother in a believable way?
You know, in a not horrific, awful, gruesome, evil way. I'm like, let's drop kick the mom. Yeah, high five! Great job. That's a good day's work. Well done. Gonna drop kick the mother. Gonna drop kick the mother. And then our artist, Jack Morris, did like the artwork that I'm sure has scarred people for life.
Yeah, it was horrible. I remember reading it the first time. I hated it.
It's like, oh, my exact. Can we curse here?
Yes, absolutely.
My exact desire was for someone to go, oh, you motherfucker. That's exactly what I wanted people to do, because it's issue 1. I'm very cynical as a media watcher. I have a piece of paper from, as we call a PLC here, a post-leaving cert. You know, I have a little piece of paper, not a big one, but a little one. And I studied media and communications. I have all these story theories and ideas of how to get an audience. And I was like, let's get them. Let's get them issue 1. Let's show them we mean business. And that's only the personal life stuff. That's only what Alex is going through. And now with issue transition. Now we're in issue 2. It's the same level of seriousness is put into the personal life as into the pro wrestling. I had Niall's head wrecked. I was like, right, issue 2, we're going to base it on training. How would you train people? And we broke down like the actual training journey of a beginner wrestler and try to, you know, balance story beats and all of that and make it work But Niall went to the School of Irish Wrestling and got photos of people doing the set poses we needed to show the artist. This is the level of detail we've put into this. And the whole ethos is good story for comic book people. Wrestling people get their love honored.
Rewarded.
And you get to swap people over. The comic book people learn a bit about wrestling. The wrestling people get to see comics. Hey, the Venn diagram we all knew should exist.
Is there wrestling fans out there who don't actually, read comics or read comics when they're younger, or appreciate the world that came from comics? Like, I'm sure that we're all fucking nerds here. Like, so yeah. I'm sure most wrestling fans are nerdy enough that they would have comics growing up, or they still, read comics to this day.
So for the most part, it was, yeah. Well, you're the con pro. You fire away.
So like with the idea for the comic, like again, I wanted to approach it with in mind that, okay, let's do something for the wrestling fans. So that way they're like, okay, this is really cool. There's wrestling in it. Maybe I'll follow along. But for people that aren't wrestling fans, it's a good way to introduce them to it while also giving them a compelling story. And trying to find that balance was, it took a while, a lot back and forward, because like, as Brian said, he had an idea for a story, but through fine tuning and me applying wrestling logic, I was like, right, here's the psychology for the tone and the rhythm that we were going to use, like trying to figure that out. Like, he had some wild ideas and I was like, no, but we can save that for later. That one, yes, we'll use that. But it was
Kaiju fight.
A lot of back and forth.
Kaiju fight. Kaiju fight. Kaiju fight.
Don't worry, that'll happen eventually. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Kaiju fight will happen. But
you're trying to show like scale and like seriousness. I'm like, oh, what if they're like fighting in the street? And they're like, no, it's stupid. We're keeping it realistic. I'm like, oh, cool. That's the sandbox. Let's play here. We're playing with reality now, are we? Well, let's play with some reality.
But I think that's the beauty of it, because you have to establish the rules before you break them. So to be able to exaggerate at moments, because that's what wrestling is. It's a lot of exaggeration, like a lot of big movements, a lot of big characters, like vibrant colors. So like, for our dark tone for outside of the ring, we wanted to do the polar opposite when it came to in ring, and that's what hopefully you will see like in issue 2. So, and going forward, like as we do more wrestling related stuff, you will see the tone shift as well. So
what was your process with your artist? I work with a lot of talent, and I've seen it from sort of my end when I get notes and turn things in, and you're like, fingers crossed, hoping they like it and stuff like that. What was it like for you working with your artist?
Like, I had kind of compartmentalized everything to, like, I wrote out each individual panel and described it. And then to say they are stick figures would be an insult to stick figures.
He has the proof. He does have the proof.
Caveman style scratchings of a madman, of like, this is kind of what the kind of perspective I want to show. And then he took that and he turned it into a comic book, a novel, a graphic novel, like an actual piece of art. But issue 1, like, we'd worked on it solidly for a year in terms of scripting and all the other stories and the universe and all the the philosophy of it and all of that. He drew issue 1 in a week.
Wow.
Yep.
Whoa.
Like a disgusting turnaround.
Yeah.
Like, dude's just a machine.
That's the phrase. It's like, it's
insane. Pencils, inks. Is he also coloring?
Yeah.
And lettering?
Yes.
Yep.
What? That wasn't all done in a week. It was drawn in a week. It wasn't lettered and colored. There's no way.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's insanity. Hold on to that, dude.
Break neck pace.
Yeah, because like last time I was speaking to you, Foxy, I was just gone on holidays, and we had mentioned about issue 2, and you had, you were hoping it would be done, like, and you come back from holidays, and next thing you know, issue 2 is out. It's like, where the fuck did he get it done that quick?
Yeah. Because we were waiting for him to actually become available, but also to make sure that because with issue 2, we put the same amount of detail, if not more attention to detail, with issue 2, because this is where my wheelhouse was in terms of the wrestling side. So I wanted to give it as an authentic feel as possible, while allowing like the artist to have a bit of freedom with like certain things in it, like to still represent the cool art style that he is very capable of doing, but also being back and forth enough to know, like, right, this has to be this way. This has to be this way. I had to provide him, like, as Brian said, I went to the School of Irish Wrestling. I asked a couple of lads if they could actually, like, right, can you just do these set movements, like that way. The artist had full, like, he had full video, he had photos of every form, the way they do things, so that way anytime he translates something over, or if we had something in particular, he had exactly the reference that was needed. So if I had an angle in mind in my head for a shot, uh I took a photo of it or took a video. So it's like, right, boom, here's a low angle. This is how you would see it in a show. It's like, okay. Or if I was at training, where would the trainer normally be if he's explained to people about stuff? He'd either be sitting, standing, or in the ring. Like, so what angles would work best to capture everything? So it was a lot back and forward in that regard. But it, like, the dude is just, as I said, a machine. Like, he just, once he got the idea of what we were trying to do, he breakneck speed, like, man, like it, because like he's a very experienced like artist in that in the regard that he writes his own comic himself, so he understands how to put together like the paneling, the way it's presented, how he wants to visualize it and showcase it. He can go extremely dark, but put these subtle tones of color that just stand out in a very nice way. And I think that's what people really like about Onefall is the artwork, which, like, that's what you have to do. You have to have really good artwork for it to stand out.
You really do. It's a visual medium.
Yes.
Yeah. When you're doing your designs as well, Jonathan, like the lads saying like they went to the School of Irish Wrestling and they had to watch people to get their art form. When you're designing like ring gear for people, do you have to understand their movements? Like, 'cause obviously their ring gear has to be like, I know the lads from Main Event Gear have to know how they move in it, but when you're designing the gear, do you have to factor that in when you're, is he going to be able to do body slams? Is he going to do, whatever moves he has to do in it?
Good question, man. Look, if you look back at my stuff from like 11 years ago, like when I was first starting, it's a world of difference from what I'm doing now. It's kind of like I did a presentation recently at a Comic-Con and just about gear design and how it correlates to costume design and story and theme and character. And one of the things that I mentioned, because I knew there were a lot of cosplayers in the audience, was like, hey, when you guys are cosplaying and you're creating your costumes, you know how there's like a thing that's designed for anime, designed for manga, just designed for 2D presentation only, and now you've got to adapt it into the real world and it doesn't work exactly perfectly. And that's because like that stuff is not meant to be active wear, it's meant just specifically for visual presentation, just to make like a cool silhouette or whatever. And there are things that look really cool on the page that just do not work in real life. So I try to avoid anything that's going to restrict human articulation wherever I can. I had to learn a lot of stuff along the way. Luckily, I do have some good partners at Main Event Gear who are like, yeah, man, you can't put like any kind of hard decor on like thighs and shins because I got to go flying through ropes and stuff like that. Leave all the hardware for the entrance gear if you can, like, and we'll simulate it for the ring gear. So these are things I kind of learned along the way. So yes, there's a lot that goes into it that you have to remember. Like, this isn't just supposed to be cool to look at. It's got to work in real life too.
You were at Comic-Con. Is there, I don't know, is there a lot of wrestling comics out there? Have you researched into it?
Not a ton. From what I saw, not a ton. Now, I go looking for them sometimes when I go to the shop. I feel like there's there's been some sprinklings. Even WWE has tried to make stuff in the past, and like I think that what One Fall is doing that is like completely unique, and why it works better than a lot of the stuff that like some of the official comics do, is like when you read a story about Seth Rollins and how he's beating everybody up backstage, like for real, like I don't know who that's for, honestly. You know, like yeah, like people in the audience are like, I know that's not how it goes. I guess
that was a hard call though at the start. It was like, we breaking
right,
kayfabe here? We breaking kayfabe? It's like, kayfabe's dead. Kayfabe died in 91. Like, we don't got to worry about kayfabe. It's like, okay.
So that's what I think is so brilliant about your book, because like you're talking about a real person's actual emotional journey, going from like real life hardships that we all feel. I don't know where the story's going, but I can tell that he's about to enter a new world. And I think the stuff from his past is definitely going to impact what he's learning and what he's trying to get into. I'm really excited about it. I'm very excited. I'm a fanboy.
There's exact like replications of panels in issue 2 that are like, we're absolutely doing callbacks and reminding people. And then there's foreshadowing that you don't even know it's foreshadowing.
That's the best foreshadowing.
Like it's exact, like what the real toy in all of this for me as a writer was, let's use wrestling stuff to tell a story. The panels are set out to the rhythm that they're set out to. The issue has, like, the arc has as many issues because of the structure of a match. There's all these things we're like weaving into it and trying to breed as much wrestling into this story in the technical way I'm trying to write and get the rhythm of things down, that it is undeniably a wrestling story. But it could be a story about tennis or boxing or competitive fishing. It doesn't matter. But if we were doing it about competitive fishing, we'd need to get a competitive fisher in, you know, not just somebody with a fish hook.
You're sitting at the side of a river, Foxy, taking pictures and video, telling them how to cast their fucking reel.
I'm out there doing the legwork, just like,
you're standing in the river scaring off all the fish, and they're like, "Get the fuck out!"
I think Foxy, I think you did a real service to this comic by being a industry professional for now 18 years. I thought that was really good preparation. Good job. I just got up on Saturday morning and watched it, in my pajamas.
I actually went out and did
it to a degree. And now he's been threatening me, and I've been threatening it as well, that I have to get in the ring. I have to take a bump.
Are you going to do that?
That it's all part of the advertising campaign. Sure, look, I've committed it to film now. It's just so people can see me get bet up, because I am, that really loud, obnoxious guy at wrestling shows who tries to get himself over.
I sat in front of you at the last OTT show, and you were screaming shit in my ear the whole show.
I am obnoxiously hilarious. Hilariously obnoxious. I'm a pain. I'm an absolute pain. I'm a walking cartoon character. I know this. That works well at wrestling shows and storytelling. Not so much when I'm sitting in an office. Like, I watched way too much cartoons as a kid.
What's the long term? I know you have maybe 5, maybe 10 issues, or beyond that. Have you a goal in mind of where you think it should go? Like, do you foresee One Fall being picked up and being turned into like an animated series, or Netflix grabbing hold of it and turning it into a TV show like fucking Heels or something like that? What's your long-term plans or goals?
If it worked for Vox Machina, it'll work for One Fall. If you can turn a Dungeons and Dragons campaign into it, it's pretty easy to turn a comic into something. And I know good voice actors. Hey, but that's like the original story is to a point. We're calling it the main event with the big bad. The big bad hasn't even shown up yet. The big bad's not even going to be in this arc. It's going to be the second arc, the real, like the ultimate big bad, the Vader I had in my head. So we have, in practicality, maybe 15 issues to 20, if depending on story rhythm. And after that, you have then taken a trainee wrestler to the main event of a local show. So where do you go as an independent wrestler who's main evented their local show? Well, you gotta go hit the road, baby. And how long is a road? It's as long as it needs to be.
Ask Foxy.
It's a long drive to Belfast. Get some stories out of that. So
That's a great title for something.
Like we've a character you have seen hinted at, two characters you've seen hinted at who have appeared in issue 1. One of them makes a bigger appearance in issue 2 as a trainee, and then there's another one who will arrive later. And to my mind, they're gonna be our core little, they're going to be our protagonists. These traveling wrestlers travel together in the car. I always travel with him. I always travel with her, and the buddy system, so that's the dynamic they're in. 3 people on the road together. What could happen there? Shenanigans of all sorts.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, if we were to get to that point, like, there's so many stories we could pull from. Like, from my real life experiences, but also my friends. Like, I could just take some of their experiences or stories that I've heard and just like, that is too funny not to use. Like, you have to have that. But again, it really boils down to like support. Like, we're trying to be self-funded, like where it's self-sustaining. And in order to do that, like we want to build up a good story that people I love how he's just like, please give me, I'm poor, give me your money.
Please, sir. Please, sir. We want more than just one fall. Please.
But like we want to give a very good story that like people would want to keep coming back to it. But while also growing it to the point where it can be self-sustaining and we don't have to go broke for 2 months, like, or 3 months, like in a row, just to fund the thing.
Like,
But,
you can see how issue 1 was written to make you want to come back for issue 2.
Yes.
So this is not a crowdfunded effort. This is
all self-funded.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Self-funded.
Yeah.
Homebrew, homegrown, grassroots.
And you're trying to keep it that way? You wouldn't be interested in crowdsourcing funds or anything like that? Because it's also a good marketing campaign.
As it goes on, as it progresses, and as things hopefully grow naturally, and we create more traction and more interest, and there's an audience to hit a Kickstarter with for the next bits, but then you kind of become answerable to people as well. There's a little bit of give and take there, and that we're entirely self-funded, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. Do you honestly think if we got someone to bankroll us or crowdfund us that they'd want us to drop kick the mother in the leg in issue 1?
We wouldn't have gotten issue 1 if that was the
case. The PG era is over, lads. You can do whatever you want.
Don't mention that in the campaign. That's all.
Yeah, it's like that, like little things like that. Was like, well, this was a pipe dream. This was just a writing experiment that's grown legs now. This was me going, I haven't run out in a while. I'll try to write something. This guy, this well-known, likable, handsome, amazing, talented wrestling personality would be interested in. Who said I was talking about you?
He wasn't available, so we called mine.
So like that's where everything has just gone step by step by step. We didn't think issue 1 was going to happen. It happened. Right. It got made. It got produced. It sold out. Its first run. We did a second run. Second run's nearly finished. So we did a digital version available now on ko-fi.com/NewTanBat. Thank you very much. Links to follow. And you can see where everything's all homegrown, it develops at that pace. Try building your own house. It goes slowly. But that allows us to have time. We had time between issue 1 and issue 2. We're going to have time in between issue 2 and issue 3, hopefully faster, depending on sales and want and desire of the mass populace. When people knocking down my door going, hey, where's issue 3? I'm like, get out of my garden. We're so successful. Like, this is one of if only projects I've finished, because it's usually start a project, lose focus, start a project, lose
100%.
focus, start a lose focus. So much so I'm going for an ADHD diagnosis tomorrow, because nobody's
No
gonna
need. We can do this right here. Yes.
yeah. I just want to be able to tell my boss.
There you go.
Be like, this is why I can't remember. Look, the doctor said so. But like that, little things like that are like taking something that is like just we're so passionate about. I adore wrestling and storytelling and characters and acting like a big fool. You've all met me in a high. It's everything is pushed way up front, and I get to do it, and I have a partner and a co-writer that enables me. Like this started out as me like being a complete fanboy. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have a meeting with Foxy, and I'm like, my son is 2, and we have 2 issues of One Fall. That's not by design. But like I know Niall's kids. He knows my son. Both Niall and my wife have shared a hot tub together.
Whoa.
I was there too. But fuck, they had an adorable heart-to-heart in the hot tub. It was adorable. It was like 2 old gal pals talking about the old days.
That sounds like that sounds like a story arc for issue
That's
3.
another one, yeah. But like it's just you can like as we've like written together and created together and worked together, then a friendship has like strangely developed. And that it just fuels everything. Like everything just keeps going and building on a
You used at a local Comic-Con here in Ireland, didn't you? Didn't you? A couple of them.
few of them, yeah.
We've done a couple of events since releasing issue 1, and it's more just to get the name out, really, because NEWTANDBAT Productions is like obviously it's our production like brand to like bolster like the comic and maybe encourage people to maybe want to approach us and like how'd you go about writing? I'm thinking of writing about something, but I've never done it. How do they do it? Because we like hearing stories. So if we can give feedback, or I say that and it sounds so pretentious when I say it, but like to give feedback about like what's your idea? Because someone might not have just heard them out. So to just listen to their idea and be like, actually that's a good idea. Like have you tried doing this? Like this and this to it? And just see where you go from there. And like all you need is like a little bit constructive criticism, but like encouragement, which like sadly there's not a lot of that. Like everyone likes to no I'm successful, so I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah.
Like I keep the secrets, but like why? Like it just I imagine that there's not just like because I wanted to do this for years. I wanted to write a comic for years, and it was just by chance that Brian happened to be looking at my stream when I had said it. Like, yeah, I would like to write a comic book, but like it never happened. Like, tried to, but just I couldn't do it. I was smart enough to realize I wasn't smart enough to do it by myself. Like, so that's the first step, admitting that you can't do it by yourself.
Well, yeah, find somebody who can like. But if I had my way, this story would be fucking nuts. It would be as comedic as the physical embodiment you see in front of you. So, and where Niall has put shape to it and put form to it, it's very much like a wrestling match, just clash of styles, but it's really complemented. And the whole thing about that moment on stream was in my head. I just went, "Fuck it, bet on yourself." What did fucking Kratos say? Boy, there we go. Fucking bet on yourself. And I just shot. I was like, let's go for it. Hey, I know really. I had to admit to myself, I'm a good writer. That's why I'll overly compliment Niall. I'll be like, because just ripping the piss out of him, be like, oh, you're so talented and handsome and good at spelling. Oh, you're great. He's like, oh.
And he knows I hate compliments. I hate it. Like I just,
Jonathan, have you ever dabbled in that? Have you ever thought about doing a comic? You know, you've written screenplays, you've got the bridges stuff. Like, it seems like a natural thing.
Yeah, dude, I hate to admit it. But yeah, it's the only thing I wanted to do, honestly. It's absurd that I haven't finished that journey ever. A friend and I had a book called Semi-Auto Angel back in the 90s, and we drew, man, I think there were like 4 issues finished by the time issue 1 was about to ship. And then the publisher wrote us and everyone else who was under their umbrella and said, we are switching formats. We're no longer publishing general audience books. We're now doing Christian books only. Your book does not fall under this umbrella, and so you are canceled. And we're like, oh, cool. What about the books you printed? Can we get those? Because I'd love to just have one in my hand. And they never answered again. So if anyone out there has a copy of Semi-Auto Angel #1, I'd love to have a copy of it myself. But like that was the last time that we did a foray into it. It was pretty traumatic.
Oh man,
has Angel in the title? How could that not be?
Yeah, it's Christian as anything.
It's a loophole. Like there you go. Like it's a religious loophole. Like, it's meant to be. It has Angel in the title. Like
it's right there. It's right. Yeah. Grab it.
I can't believe they never got a copy of it.
I know.
Sick. That was like we were about halfway in making One Fall, and then fucking Niall just turned around. I was like, I wonder what it's gonna be like to hold the comic. I'm like, fire relit. Bah, I'm doing this out of spite now. Bah! I was like, there's like 3 really happy days in my life, and 2 of them involve wrestling. You know, my comic and my wedding day involved wrestling.
You wrestled your wife?
I mean, not like that. We booked a show. We booked a show for our wedding day.
Did you?
Yeah, fucking links to follow. No problem. You fucking let me know. I'll send it all over.
Oh, do yeah.
Awesome. But that's cool. Where and then the birth of my son. Yeah, he's nice. He's nice too, I suppose. He could become a wrestler. The prophecy. We already have Session Martina lined up for coach #1, and I do believe referee Noel Fox's other coach, other fantastic coach also. So he's ready. I'm like, what I couldn't do, you will do for me. Sitting there at the weekend watching Raw, and he was just like, go, go, go. I'm like, yes. Yes,
it begins.
Yes.
It's a recruitment video at this point.
Just to step away from One Fall for a minute, Jonathan, you've done a lot of ring gear recently. The lads, I know you are probably big Turtle fans. The New Days Turtle gear that was out recently that Jonathan did. Like, I'm not sure. Is that continuing? They're going to wear that for the rest of the year, or have you got other stuff?
I don't know. So you've seen has it debuted? Yes, you've seen the Lantern gear.
Yeah,
remember that? That actually got finished first. That was done and like in the chamber, and they had that ready to go when the turtle thing happened. So that got pushed through the pipe like super fast. Like that was a crazy design and manufacturing cycle. It was nuts. So we fully intended for them to wear the Lantern gear for like a good cycle, whatever that is. And it sort of got superseded by the turtle stuff. So I don't know, because kind of, behind the curtains, Paramount is very much involved in the turtle gear, and they have all kinds of crazy rules with it. And I don't know if there's like a limit to how many they can wear, how many times they can wear it, or when they're pulling it, or if it has to do with like corresponding with like pushing the Mutant Mayhem,
I'd say so,
animated series or something. So there's it's unfortunately at this point for that type of gear, it's like beyond my pay grade and completely out of my hands. I'm as much of an audience member as you are on that one. I have no idea.
Man, I was cycling through like the gear that you've designed in the past, and like I was talking to Brian about it. It's like I'm just instantly like, I didn't realize he done this. Oh, like it's just each one is getting better. I'm like, no,
Right.
this is my favorite. It's like I sent him the one you did for King for Xavier.
Oh, that was
Man.
so fun. That
Oh
was so
man.
great.
Like
Oh, thank
seeing
you,
that, I was
man.
like, yes. Ah. But then seeing the more subtle one, which was Kakashi, like for
Oh,
Ricochet.
yeah. Right?
Like just plain white. And I was like, that can't be. That can't be what I'm thinking it is. Then I cycled through the fall. Oh my god, it is. I became more of a fanboy straight away. I was like, oh, these are so good.
Dude, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. We try to do this thing like where I respect cosplay, and a cosplay is cosplay. And we try to do like inspired by, like you know, Tekken through the lens of the New Day. Like,
Yeah.
so whenever possible, I try to throw, like, we have our own sort of visual language. I try to throw, like, it's as much of a New Day set of gear as it is something else. Now, the Turtles was a little different because it had to look like the action figures, and I got to play with the design a little bit, but there were certain milestones I had to stick to. But yeah, we try not to go straight cosplay with things. And man, you nailed it. My favorite ones are when it's like subtle, when it's like just a little bit, just like a color hint here, a design hint here, where just there's elements where people go, is it? No, is it?
Yeah.
And then you look at my Instagram and you're supposed to get the answer there. That's the little play loop that we've created.
Feedback. Niall, would you like me to tell the guys about the fact that you have sketches of ring gear?
Oh, really?
This is from years ago. Like, Jesus, I don't know. I don't know if I had them nearby.
You see in the top left-hand corner of Niall's screen there, there's like a mask there. He really likes masks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little.
So I used to wrestle years ago, and
Putting that out there.
yeah, damn you. But like I used to wrestle years ago, and I used to wrestle under a mask. And over the years, I've had several different masks. So, finally when I actually decided to splash out and get a proper custom mask made, I'm no longer wrestling.
Oh no.
I'm not joking. Like finally when I actually like splashed out and got one done, I was like, this was well after I'd stopped like wrestling. I think that I'm never gonna say like the door is closed, but I know there's a shelf life to actually wrestling. So
Sure.
I became too good as a referee. So and
You can ref in a mask.
I know.
Could ref in a mask.
To the point where I actually bought a mask. One of my old masks that I used to wear was red and black, but I purposely went out and got a new one made where it was black and white.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, like, but never got the chance to use it.
They'll never know it was you.
That's,
Oh man,
that OT, like I'm Jonathan. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but OTT is the big one of the biggest promotions over in Europe. Foxy's the main referee for the promotion, like for the whole country. But
well done.
Their 10-year anniversary is coming up at the end of October, and they've got Finn Balor and JD McDonough coming over for it. They're coming home.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
So Fox is going to get a chance to ref that, but it's 10-year anniversary, like so. There's going to be a lot of callbacks, and Foxy has wrestled for OTT, and he's had matches in OTT. So there is a chance that you could just make a special appearance.
There's something there, I think.
There's an opportunity there in the background. I'm not sure if the boss Joe Cabre is any say in it, but you could just walk out in a mask and not tell him and just let it happen.
That's pretty sweet. I love that.
Hey,
I worked with JD a little bit.
Nobody
knows this. Yeah. He wanted this thing done that I'm not allowed to talk about, and I designed it, and he loved it. And right after that, he got into Judgment Day and the whole thing that they're doing there. And I wrote him recently because I was like, hey man, this thing we did is really cool. Can you mind if I just post it, if you're not going to use it? And he's like, you don't know how long these things are going to last. Keep that under wraps. I might go back to that. I was like, okay, all right, cool. But that is so awesome, man. Are you going to do it? You think you'll do something special for the 10 year?
I don't know if the boss man will let it, but like, I never say never. Like, see, the lads are trying to fucking manifest something right here. Like, and it's just like, I don't have control over this.
Yeah, clipping this part out and putting tagging Joe Cabre in it on social media.
I don't know, man. Not for nothing, but what I have found interacting with talent over the years is that there seems to be this kind of overall philosophy of like, it's just better to ask forgiveness than permission. Just go do it and then deal with it later, just to give everybody the pop. Because if it works, they won't complain at all.
I know, but I have to approach my job very differently. Like wrestlers can look for forgiveness afterwards. Me, I'm the only one there. So
exactly, all the more reason why you can get away with it, because there's no other referee.
No, because people think that like, oh yeah, I'm the only one, so nothing can happen to you.
Are.
No, fuck that. Like, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Cabray just like he'd not have like just out of nowhere. It's like bang. It's like no more. Don't you dare.
Not till issue 501 fall, Joe, for the love of God. Not till issue 501 fall.
Priorities.
Then we'll take you out to the wood chipper.
No, but like Jerry's right. Like I have wrestled for OTT in the past. I did it on their 8-year anniversary, and I got to wrestle in a tracksuit, which you see behind me, with the bright blue one, and it has a Session Foxy.
I see it.
Like, because I was in the tag match, so yeah, I'm actually pumping myself over. God damn it!
Hey,
you
get it?
Yes. I don't like it. But I've been so lucky. I've gotten to do really cool stuff with wrestling, and I've gotten to work with so many really, really awesome people. Like, and to do it on such a high level as well. I know Ireland is like I'm the only major referee here in Ireland, but to do it for the biggest promotion in the country for 10 years straight. Now, not to say that I've only done like 10 years. No, I've done a lot longer as a referee. Like, but still, it's just amazing to see how far we've come just in that 10 years alone, like Irish wrestling. So,
well, you can look at WWE. You've got Sheamus, you've got Finn Balor, you've got Becky Lynch, you've got JD McDonough, you've got Lyra, Aoife, Valkyria, and there's a host of other lads out there who are on the cusp of breaking in. So you never know, Jonathan. There could be a few more Irish stars heading your way looking for ring gear.
Bring on. I'm in. I'm in.
I'll send you my measurements.
But like,
I ain't no floor basher. No way.
But I will admit one thing though. The process of being of creating a comic was also a way of basically being creative with something that I wouldn't normally get to do. So obviously I don't wrestle that much, so I don't have the creativity of being able to like go out and get fancy gear. So I'd be able to do all that creativity and put any designs or wacky designs that I want into the comic. And that's what I can't wait to do. Like, so
I'm really excited about you posting your sketches online for us all to see.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not posting it online. I will send
it. He's talking about Brian's sketches, not yours.
Like, I would send them gladly.
I got a back catalogue of tragedy there for everybody to suffer through. Don't you worry.
Before and after. Like,
Brian, you're wearing some merchandise there. Is that going to be available publicly when One Fall issue 2 comes out? Can everybody purchase these t-shirts?
We are working on doing our own merchandise. This was a show up to a convention so people know who you are. So whether I'm walking towards you or I'm walking away.
Nice. Well done.
It's like, oh my God, look at the hips on him. Nice t-shirt too. Like you can. That was just that was a Nile special. That was a Foxy special of let's get gear. Let's get gear so we can have it and we can represent it. We can have a team jersey. We have put this out there to people. You can say, hey, does everyone want merch? Everyone says yes. And I say, give me money. And they say, who are you?
That's the trick.
Pay me
a lot of enthusiasm out there. Very difficult to separate someone from their money.
Everyone send us €30 and I'll send you something. It might be one of my shoes. It could be one of my dogs. It's a mystery box. We are like my wife bought a sewing machine. And she's working away on trying to figure out like smaller trinkets of merchandise that we can make and scale everything back like the comics. Scale it all back to grassroots level and we will build towards it. She did make a t-shirt. Only one of her arms got through. So we're at that stage.
Oh.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Might have to get on to
Exactly.
you there, Jonathan. We may need to talk. But like
My first tip is go for 2 arms first.
yes, ideally.
Mm.
And don't forget the tail. Cosplayer.
Oh yeah, very important.
Unless you're the man who killed Richard Kimball's wife in The Fugitive.
I didn't kill my wife.
Care.
I don't care.
Lads, it's been a hell of a show. It's been great getting to get people from the industry like Niall and Jonathan talking to each other, and Brian being Brian and getting and telling us how it all started. Like, one final question before I let these all go: was One Fall always the original name for the comic? Had you had millions of ideas, or was there some really bad ideas out there, some bad names that would never got out?
Like, in all honesty, like the One Fall was actually once we had said it out loud, that was it. Like we just came across it, and we didn't really have anything else in mind that would fit. So
we had half mentioned, we had really got the story to the point where like, okay, I think this is like the finished, at least draft 2 of the story. I was like, we need something. And then, my little chaotic gremlin brain took over and I was like, need a title, 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 need a title. Watch SmackDown. And I saw somebody make a hand gesture. I was like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, this next comic is set for, oh, give me that. It's an emoji. I am essentially the tribal chief of
I was getting that.
It's getting that synergy. Like once you're ready for it, the idea comes to you. But like just seeing, put up your ones, I'm like, Foxy, Niall, I got an idea. She's like, oh, for God's sake, not this again.
But it came across really simple because, like, again, everyone like, crowd participation is a great thing at shows, and it's one of the big things that happens before every match. So why not play off that and actually use it towards a project? Every time someone says One Fall means that, like, someone
Thanks,
could
guys.
have the comic and literally hold it up. So there you go. Free advertisement.
It's really, really kind of all independent and wrestling fans. Thank you so much for advertising my comic for me.
Exactly.
Appreciate it.
Jonathan, anything else you want to ask the lads before we let you go?
It's not maybe necessarily a short thing, but I was curious. You said you had Brian, you said you had kind of a story in mind before Niall inspired some more realistic elements that lended structure to it. How much of your original story did you have to change? Is a lot of it still baked into the DNA, or is some of it like, oh, it doesn't fit, like toss it, this is better? Like, how'd that go?
The structure is the exact same. We just have it, call it like a music theory. It's in a more palatable key. Whereas what I was playing was full on scat jazz. And now Niall has brought in a little bit of 4/4 time signature in there and just brought it in and honed everything, to taking the sharp edges off everything. But the story is still the original core idea. It's still there. We haven't varied from it that much, but we will if we have to, and we did in issue 2. That was the first off-road of like, okay, it's gonna have issue 1 will be like, it will hit the audience like this, and then issue 2 will hit them like this, and then issue 3 will do this, and then the artist Jack did a particular frame, just a particular action. You will see me. There's an articulation. Spoilers. And I was like, oh fuck, it's got to be that. That was the little turn off of like, okay, but like everything, I'm open to it. If it's a good idea, it can only add. Like, what am I gonna do? No, it's my idea. I wrote it. Well, I wrote it. My idea. No one else's idea. Then it doesn't get made. No one wants to work with you. No one wants to be your friend. Like, share and collaborate. That's how we make people and comics.
But it's how projects get off the ground. Like you have to work with each other. It's a balancing act of being able to, okay, you have this. It's like what I said earlier. It's doing it in a more constructive way as opposed to just shutting something down straight away. Because if someone has an idea and they say, like, I have an idea about this person jumping off the top rope. So, okay, like if you have that idea, then why are they jumping off the rope? Like, what's the reasoning? Like give a little bit of reasoning for it. It's applying wrestling psychology to it. Like that's how I work it in my own brain. But it works. It like for some of the out there ideas that Brian has had, and he's had a few, but it all it takes is just a little tweak. Literally, like I think I've only had to rein you in once in regards.
Kaiju fight. Kaiju fight.
Yeah, that was it.
Is that and the musical number.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
that was just me. I
Yeah.
just want to.
just for bandy's sake, it's just oh, I want a musical number.
Let's put in a QR code with a karaoke track. Like, let's fucking go for it.
There you go.
But there's like, to me, story is patterns. All stories are patterns. Go back as far as you want to go. Pick whatever culture you want to go to. We all come up with the little freaky dude in the corner going, bleh. Everyone has that guy. And everyone has their hero. Everyone has a villain. Stories are all kind of the same, guys. Like, it's just how you color them. And ours is colored with wrestling. Yours could be colored with. I mean, fuck, I could get a comic.
Fishing.
Yeah, I could get a comic out of what it means to work and design gear. Like, there's stories in everything. People don't realize you wake up in the morning, that's the start of your story. You go to bed at night, that's the end of your story for that day. There is a story there in everyone's day, in everyone's life, in every moment, every struggle. There's a story. People think struggles is suffering, and suffering is bad. Run away from suffering. It's like, no, suffering is stories. So lean in a little bit, and you think, I missed my bus. I missed my train. But what if I got on the train when I was supposed to? How would the story have been different? Oh, bang. Now we're off. Now it's something. What could it be? Who was on the train? There was a busker. There was a busker in that carriage, and he was playing the panpipes. And then there was another busker who was breakdancing in the other one. But I got on the train this far, so I got panpipes instead of breakdancing. Is how my brain goes. So
I love it.
It's just how I fucking love stories. Because everything is a story. Guess what, guys? We are all stories. So it's trying
We're
to get
telling a story right now on this podcast.
Yeah, nonstop.
There you go.
But it's trying to get that into people's heads to inspire them to do something. Because I want to see more cool stories that are more about you, more about your unique avenue that you've gone into, your unique point of view. Because they're the better stories. They're much more fun. We're in an age of narrow casting, not broadcasting. The interesting stories are in the tiny detail or in the granular. It's like so exciting to think what's next, what other comic is next, what other story is next, what wrestling match, what ring gear, what podcast, it's right here in front of us all. And all available for €15 issue 2, one fall now available.
Lads, Brian said it better than I could. Go out, get onto the lads right now and get issue 2 of One Fall. It is a one fall match. It's separate one fall. There's no DQs. It's not a best of 2 out of 3. It's not a Iron Man match. It's one fall. Go and get that comic now on the lad. And is it available? Is One Fall issue 2 available on digital yet? Or
Not yet, but will be soon enough. So
maybe in time for a certain 10-year anniversary of Over the Top Wrestling.
Yes, let's do it. Jonathan is a storyteller. He's written screenplays. He, as we said in the start, he's worked for Disney. He works, making ring gear for AEW, WWE stars. Jonathan, have you anything else coming up before we let you go?
Not a ton. We're right in the middle of two different things. There might be some news about the World of Bridges coming out in the next couple of weeks, which will be kind of fun. Like I said, we're still waiting to find out a release date for F+. In the meantime, just tune in to @Davenpo on Instagram to look at the latest ring gear for your favorite guys and gals.
Niall, Foxy, as we said, issue 2 is out now. Lads, go out and get it. Support the lads, support independent comics, support wrestling, support storytelling. Also, you can support us by subscribing, like, comment, follow us on all our social medias at Irish Wrestling 8. And we'll see you sometime during the week for another episode. But until then, guys, thanks very much for joining us, and have a good day. See you guys.
Thanks for having us.